Hello everyone, this is Abdul Samad Shah from Spire Podcast. Welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we have John Aspinall. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly from PickFu.
Yeah, you got it perfectly.
That's great. That's great. Welcome, John, to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure on this hot day in New York City and hot day where you are. We're
In
almost in the
Pakistan, yeah.
middle of summer, and we're going to get through it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you are quite known to the community on LinkedIn because of your LinkedIn active post and quick visits to multiple podcasts. But still, it's a format of the show. You have to introduce yourself.
Oh, okay, fair enough. For people that haven't heard of me, well, my name is John Aspinall. I'm a brand evangelist here at PickFu. PickFu is a consumer research insight tool to uncover all the things you think you know or you might not know about your product, your images, your logo, your landing page, your A plus content, product sourcing. Literally test PickFu tests anything and everything. I've been previously in the full service agency space, a couple of agencies, in the ecom area. I've done ecom management. Gosh, this is probably going on year 16 or 17 of me dabbling in
Mm.
some way or another in Amazon, starting out long time ago as retail arbitrage, as a lot of people and folks are in the space. Worked at manufacturers, worked for 1P partners, worked for 3P partners, worked at daily deal sites back when that was a thing, but landed working at the SaaS tool space because SaaS, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. That's really great. So, we also know PickFu, especially for the Amazon niche. Maybe we know it from this perspective because we only work in the Amazon industry. So, we all know about PickFu for the listing images, A plus content, and storefront A/B testing. So, can you explain how PickFu works and how you conduct the poll and uh, how the A/B testing works on PickFu?
Yeah, totally. So PickFu has millions of panelists or respondents with over 90 plus different traits or characteristics that we can drill down. So you put your poll in front of the proper audience. So let's say, for example, you're selling, I always go with this one, a melatonin gummy supplement. It's
Mm,
not for kids, so you don't really want to focus on people that are kids or maybe have kids, and maybe your melatonin gummy supplement is specifically formulated for women. You can target specifically women between certain ages. You can target certain buying habits, certain shopping habits. Are they a Prime member? So there's over 90 plus traits that you can use to drill down to get your poll in front of the right person. Now, there's lots of different polls with PickFu. There's A/B or head to head, where it's this or that. There's ranked, where you put 4 or 5 options, 3, 4, 5 options together, and people like 1 through 5 or 1 through 4, which one they prefer first, second, third. Um, there's open ended, where if you're not sure about what you want to put or anything like that, you could just basically put a listing up there and showcase what do you think about this listing, and they're going to give you feedback about the listing. You could even do my favorite, which is a click test. So with a click test, you can upload a screenshot of a SERP. So you can take a screenshot of a, that was my father-in-law walking by. Sorry, they're crazy family stuff. With a click
yeah.
test, you could take a screenshot of a SERP, so an Amazon SERP page, right, and upload it. And if you're next to your competition in the SERP, you could do a click test and say, where would you click if you were shopping for melatonin gummies on Amazon? Then you're getting more data about, okay, they're clicking on the competition and they're giving you the reasons why. And that's super important, because then you're like, okay, now I know who my competition is, because you might not know who your competition is. So if you do like a click test on a SERP, then you do a head to head of you against that competition directly. Now that we have the data based on that, then you're getting more detailed information of why they're choosing the competitor over you. Then what you do is you go out and you iterate a little bit more. So maybe if you're doing supplements, you're not showing the gummies, you're not showing the flavor prop, the value prop, the box behind it. You add all these elements in, and then you run it again. And hopefully this time, based on that data and your iteration again, you're going to be able to beat the competition. Then you know to take that one and run with it on Amazon.
That's cool. That's cool. So, do you only do the material and online testing, or do you or do the supplier also have to send the product to the testers and they check and then they comment on that? How
No,
does it work?
there's no physical thing. So you're just putting pictures up. So you're putting pictures up, and based on how many respondents you want to have, 15, 30, 50, 100, 500. Let's say you do a 50-person poll, right? We're going to send those polls out to those 50 people that specifically fit the criteria. So if we're talking about men that are Prime members, that exercise daily, that have a dog, that are non-smokers, those 50 polls are going specifically to those people because you want their feedback. You don't have to worry about sending products to these people. This is not like the old days of consumer focus groups where you go into a room and it's a big table and you have to sit around and they hand out products and they ask you what you think about it and they write it on the clipboard, and then that costs like $10,000 by itself to get all these people here, and it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to get the information back, and nobody has time for that. So with a PickFu, especially with CTR for your main hero image, which I talk about a lot, if Prime
Hmm.
Day is right around the corner, it's literally next week. You can't
Yeah.
change your inventory levels now, unfortunately. You can't change your product, unfortunately. There's a lot of things you
Exactly.
can't do, but you still can affect your main hero image. So I'm urging everyone to test where you are currently now with your main hero image on Amazon, right? So testing with a screenshot SERP, right? In a click test, that'll tell you before Prime Day, are they going for you or your competition? And if they are going for your competition, going back to the melatonin gummies, it might be something as easy as showcasing the gummy on the outside, showcasing value prop on top of it.
That's great. That's great. And is it only images testing, or do you also do the video ads testing, like video 15 to 30-second videos?
Yeah, so you could upload anything into a PickFu poll. You can upload videos, you can include links in there. You could even do links directly to the product detail page. So you can actually go and put the link up there and say, if you were shopping on this page, what would you like about this? What do you not like about this? Would you purchase it? Would you purchase it for this price? All that kind of good stuff. So you can put videos up there as well.
That's great. That's great. How PickFu is different from the Amazon A/B testing, because we also see the A/B testing feature within Seller Central.
Yeah, so Amazon AB, the manager experiments, is a great tool to have. It's almost needed too, but almost after you do a pick food poll. Because if you're doing strictly a manager experiments, 50% of the time you're going to win, 50% of the time you're going to lose. So before you gamble with your money, you want to make sure that you test before you invest and have the proper image up. So I always recommend people, yeah, you could do manager experiments, all that kind of good stuff, but making sure that you're testing before you're investing before you get to that stage is even more important. Because remember, with manager experiments, they're doing A/B testing two things, right? So one is good, one's not going to perform, and that's lost sales. So it's definitely a good tool to have. But also remember too, if you're a seller with not enough sales, if you don't have a certain threshold or certain volume, they won't even let you do manager experiments.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. So apart from the Prime Day, what on what other occasions we have to do, and we should do the A/B testing, so that we know like the CTR or any other things like the conversion rate, which may affect. So apart from the Prime Day, what are the other occasions we should normally go for?
Well, I mean, it really depends on your product and your category, right? So if you're an evergreen product, there's really no season or occasion, right? But you really want to have seasonal merchandising. That's, I think, super important. So, for example, if you sell desks, um,
Mhm.
you might be doing better around back to school if people are buying desks for their rooms or going to a dorm room or something like that. But for the most part, a desk is not a holiday gift giving item. But what I often see a lot of people
Mhm.
in the furniture and desk space do is they do seasonal merchandising, meaning their main hero image will be merchandise for Halloween when it's Halloween time, right? To give more attention to that image, right? To give more relevancy to it. Christmas or holiday season, you'll see decorations on tables and images. Valentine's Day is another one with this kind of stuff, right? So, seasonal merchandising is important. Now, if you're in a category that has certain ebbs and flows, right? Now, let's say you are Christmas tree, or let's say you're a Christmas lawn decoration or lawn ornament company. Well, you're not
Mhm.
really going to be killing it in March or April, right? Typically, you're going to have the lead into Q4 and then Q4, and then typically people after Q4 are buying if they get some liquidation or some deals post season. But I think it's important to know your seasonality, know when your season is, because outside of Prime Day, who knows? Amazon might have more. It used to be Prime Day was a big thing once a year, a great monumentous thing. Now it's two Prime Days, and it's two times. It might be three times. I mean, who knows? I mean, for me, I've curbed on ordering some stuff waiting for Prime Day. Last Prime Day, I was waiting for a Kindle to go on sale because Amazon's own products typically get dirt cheap. I mean, you can get an Amazon Echo for like $10, but certain items they don't discount that aggressively. So, like the Kindle, it's not as aggressively priced as it should be, but who knows? Let's see for this season or this Prime Day.
Hmm. It's amazing. It's amazing. Uh, what are the measures and metrics we should consider while doing A/B testing? Um for example, for if you want to do the A/B testing for the main image, then what are the campaign metrics we should look at? You can also
Yeah,
share your screen if you want.
yeah. Well, let me just say a little bit more about this, right? So,
Yeah.
when you're doing A/B testing for your main hero image, you want to see what your current CTR is, right? Most folks on Amazon they'll look at the CTR based on paid, because that's typically what Amazon's doing based
Yeah.
on their sponsored, the products or sponsored brand ads and that kind of stuff. But you want to see what your CTR is currently, and if your CTR is low, what can you do to change it? I always tell people don't change too many things at once because you're putting too much ingredients in the soup. So you want to change one thing at a time and see what resonates with your audience. So, when we talk about the holistic kind of aspect of your business, the main hero image is the first part of it. So they click on the image to go to your listing. Now they're on your listing. Then it's your image stack. That's the next part that's going to help you convert. Is your image stack buttoned up? Then it's going to be the A plus content. So is your A plus content relevant? Is it compelling? Is it interesting? Does it have anything? Does it have everything I need to know to buy this product inside of it? Um, so it's different methods of testing in different phases. So the first would be the main hero image for CTR. The second would be another PickFu poll is running against your image stack. So all of your images, are they relevant to your consumer? If they're not, you want to swap some of them out. Typical image you want to have in an image stack is pretty much always an us versus them. It's always us versus them. You want to have your product versus competition. I would never call out the competition. I would just say competition. So if I was selling a blender, us 5-speed blender, them 3-speed blender, us stainless steel carbide blades, them aluminum blades. I don't know, I'm making something up. Us, glass, quality container, them plastic. So that shows that you're aware of the other items that are out there in competition for that purchase and you're explaining to the customer. Another big thing I tell people all the time is it's benefits over features. So you don't want to talk about, if we go back to like a blender, for example, you don't want to talk about you know, 1 horsepower, 3 cycle motor, GFI certified plug. No one cares about that. You want to talk about makes perfect smoothies, delicious soups, blends vegetables easy. It's always how the person's going to be using it is best practice, because if you start giving them jargon about technical aspects and the features, it's going to get lost in the sauce and people aren't going to understand. So that's the best thing. And then when you go to your A plus content, I'm not a huge fan of premium A plus content, and there's a reason why. Because typically when I shop on Amazon, I don't click on videos. There's places I
Mm.
consume videos, like TikTok, YouTube, that kind of stuff. But Amazon's typically not a place I consume videos, unless it's something very expensive, something that's very technical, that I want to verify that it works, all that kind of stuff. But if it's a $7.99 ice cream scoop, well, I don't need to see a video about an ice cream scoop. I'm not going to waste my time watching it. But you have brands out there that they'll put in the premium A plus content a massive embedded video and then a carousel that you have to swipe over to see all the features and benefits. It may
Yeah.
look really nice, but what that does is if they don't click on that play button, they're not going to see any information. If they don't swipe over on the carousel, they're not going to get the information. So while premium A plus content aesthetically looks good, in my opinion, you're putting a lot of barriers up for the customer to get the information that they need to make that purchase. Again, there's lots of premium A Play Plus content that's done really, really well. They'll have thumbnails on the embedded video that's compelling enough. They'll have call to actions in the carousel that's compelling enough. And these are things you want to test in PickFu. So understanding from that, you can put 2 different A plus contents up and say which you find more relevant, or even put your premium A plus content up and say, if you're on this page, where would you go to click to purchase? And if they're not clicking anywhere near that play button, they're not clicking anywhere near the carousel, then you have to revamp that, because that's not where the customer's attention is going.
Hmm. It's amazing. Yeah, exactly. So for link testing, for example, a website page, do we have to take the screenshot, or can we insert the link to the campaign and people go there and check the whole website? Or for example, in the premium A plus content, there are a lot of moving part in the A plus content, premium A plus content. Like you have to click on the carousel or play the video. So for that kind of testing, do do we have to insert the link to the campaign, or how does it work?
So you do one of two things. You either do an open-ended poll, insert the link for the product detail page, and say, if you shopped on this page, what do you think of it? Right? Another option is doing the click test, which is a static image. That's going to show you very clearly where someone's clicking. You could do up to 5 clicks, right? Let me share my screen so we can take a look at this together.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to get a little infinity window here in a second, but there's
Yeah.
infinity window. So if I show down here, this is going to be an example of the click test, right? So it's a screenshot of a SERP for based on an image for search detangling brush. Which product would you rather click on and why? So you could see here, you would think that someone that's $5.99 and offers 2 of them would get the most clicks. But you can see very clearly it's this one and this one that are getting the most clicks. And this is $9.99 and only one. This is $5.99 and there's 2 of them. So this seller, and this one's doing 1,000 units in the past 30 days. This one's doing 100 units. You would think, based on pure math, that the one that's cheaper that comes with more would do better. But you can see here from the click test, but it's not.
Mhm.
Because if you take a look here at the data,
Yeah.
you're going to see I would go with it. Doesn't have too many crazy colors, a good handle, more traditional. I like black brushes, highest quality option, looks more professional. I like the color. So this really helps, especially when you're sourcing your products initially. This is not always the best buy, right? And this is going to save you thousands of dollars from procuring something that's not going to work. So click test is very, very powerful. I have another one here. I'll show you. This is a good one for CTR. When shopping on Amazon, which of these images would you most likely to click on and why? It's all the same product, just different iterations of it, right? So it's just a sink protector like
Hmm.
this, up front, angle to the side. You can see this one won by a landslide because it has a post edit on it. It's saying exactly what it is, sink protector. Like, yeah, you could guess what this is. I mean, it might even look like a barbecue grill, but unless you're really saying it in their face and the size dimensions, you're providing a better customer experience. Here's another example I like to show people
Exactly.
too. Just put the packaging behind it. Super easy. If you don't put the packaging behind it, I assume this is a cable. I didn't know it was a mini USB. I didn't know how many feet it was. I didn't know what it was compatible for. And if you're in a sea
Hmm.
of cables, it's not something you want to do. Here's another good one I'll show you. This is the same product. This is the basically the packaging the manufacturer sends out. This is more about what we spoke about benefits over features. So instead of just saying silver infused pillowcase, this is saying embrace pampering restorative sleep. This is making me feel good that I should be buying this to have better sleep. This is telling me nothing. And you can see this one won pretty much almost in a landslide. I only got one vote on this one over here. So a lot of cool things that you can be doing with PickFu to really pivot your business.
Exactly. Yeah. In a previous episode, I had opportunity to host Stephen Pop, and he also talked about the main image CTR. And guys, in this episode, we proved it that the main image CTR works. Like if you put some words and some catching keywords, it works, and you saw the poll. So
Yeah,
thank you so much,
Steven.
John, for showing
Yeah, Steven's actually my old boss. He taught me everything I know about
that.
CTR.
That's great. That's great. Uh, how we can use PickFu in the product development stage, especially when we are finalizing the design or we are coming up with something new in the design perspective.
Yeah, so kind of like that SERP screenshot that I showed you. Imagine swapping out the
Mhm.
SERP for a catalog from a supplier or manufacturer, and you don't know which product to source from that. So let's say, for example, you're doing aroma diffusers, and they come in all sorts of crazy styles, shapes, and you're like, okay, I know I want to get into aroma diffusers, but which style do I go with? You don't want to make the wrong choice because if you pick the wrong style and it doesn't resonate with the consumers, they're not going to buy it. And you have a 20-foot container of aroma diffusers that aren't going to move. So taking very simply swapping out that click test of a SERP, swapping your manufacturer or supplier's catalog and say, point to which one that you like. Which one would you buy if you were my demographic, right?
Mm.
Another interesting thing is too, is if you already have a product that's doing well on Amazon and maybe you want to come up with the next color. I see a lot of people struggling with this too, where they'll say, oh, I have the black is the best seller. I want to launch a blue and a pink and a green. All right, but does
Mhm.
your people always want to do that because they want to triple down on something that's already performing well, and that's great. But does your customer and your demographic want those colors? Because you'll often find when you have a color run, the blue, the black, the green, the red, those are pretty much the ones everyone's buying. And then when you get to like the pink, the yellow, the orange, not a lot of people are buying those. And there's many times I show on Amazon where if you have a color variation, you'll often find the ones that aren't moving are much cheaper than the other ones. Perfect example. I bought a razor blade scraper to scrape the floor in my house, like if my kids drop something sticky or something like that. The black one was $9.99. The hot pink one of that exact same product on a variation was $4.99. I
Yeah.
don't care what color it is if it's the same scraper. I saved
Mhm.
50% because they were just trying to unload the ones that they can't sell because they made a oopsie and didn't pick food before deciding to run pick scrapers for the floor.
Mm. Yeah, but some girls who decor their whole room and even bathroom with the pink color, they will obviously choose the pink one. So what do you think?
Yeah, there's always going to be the anomaly of one or two people, but for the most part, who's the demographic
Yeah.
that's buying scrapers, that kind of thing? It's not going to be that, right? So it depends. If that's your demographic, if you have marketing behind it, if you have influencers, if you have UGC content, if you're running TikToks and you're putting them there, then sure. But just because I see this a lot also with tumblers, like cups and tumblers, like instead
Yeah.
of just one color, they have 400 colors. And that's an inventory nightmare because I guarantee all 30 of those colors are not selling. Not all colors are going to sell the same, right? So you're going to have the black, the blue, the green, the red, probably selling pretty much the same, but the oranges, the yellows, it's to have that inventory. It depends if that's your business model. If you're selling in different places and you can afford to take it in and parlay it to like a Walmart and Etsy and eBay and Facebook Marketplace, sure. But if you're only doubling down on Amazon and it's not moving there, what other recourse do you have?
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So A/B testing, especially in the e-commerce niche, is very important. We don't have the product in hand most of the time, and we are just pick the product from supplier and then ship it to Amazon warehouse, and from there it goes to the buyer house. So we have to do the A/B testing. We have to check the images, and it's a famous saying in the e-commerce niche that you don't sell the product, you sell the images, you sell the content, because the buyer can't see the product directly. They can only see the product images or whatever you want to display. So it should be displayed in a very good manner that it communicates the features of the product. So yeah, A/B testing is very important, and you guys can check out PickFu. I have attached the link in the video description. You guys can also have discount to that link. So you must check, and must go with the A/B testing, especially if you are launching for the first time. Must go for the product A/B testing. It costs you very less. If you choose the wrong product, then it will cost you a lot. So make sure to test it before you launch.
One more thing I want to say too before you kind of end it is you said something
Please.
really valuable is that they're shopping based on pictures. So when you have something that's a flavor or a scent, right, or
Hmm.
a texture, if you're not showing that behind the item in the main hero image, you're going to be losing out. There's so many people that say, "Oh, that's that John doing those things are against terms of service." They're not against terms of service. There's image guidelines and there's terms of service. Terms of
Yeah.
service has nothing to do with images. That's image guidelines. And based on those image guidelines, what you're doing is enhancing the customer experience. Do what is best for the customer in a non scammy, sleazy way, and you'll always come out ahead. For example, if you're selling a lavender scented candle and you have just the candle there, and you don't show a piece of lavender next
Hmm.
to it, this way someone can understand, ooh, I like lavender, click, or I don't like lavender, I'm not going to click. Both of those are good because if you're spending ads on the product and you're spending money on ads, sponsored brand ads, sponsored display ads, sponsored product ads, and you're not clear what your product is, and someone clicks and then they get to the PDP or the detail page and they're like, ew, this is lavender, I don't like this, they're not going to convert, and that's wasted ad spend. It doesn't make sense to do that. That's why you see so many people when it's flavor for drinks, for seltzers, it's scents for air fresheners, for candles, it's ingredients in supplements, it's showing the actual product. You can never go wrong with showing the product itself. Amazon will say plain white background, just that product on there, that's it. I can give you a bajillion, that's not even a real number, but a bajillion examples of Amazon themselves not listening to their own rules. And yeah, people could argue, well, they're Amazon, they don't have to follow the rules. Well, yes and no. They're not policing this as hard. Now, that's not to say go out there and put bestseller badge up here, guaranteed weight loss over here, lifestyle images. Don't do any of that kind of stuff. But enhancing what you have and being transparent with the product is always a win.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Exactly. In the last, John, do you have any closing comments for the new sellers who just want to start, or even for the established brands?
Yeah. So if you're a new seller starting out, do yourself a favor. Spend money on testing. Number one. Number
Mhm.
two, have a proper tool like a Helium 10, like a Jungle Scout, like a Data Dive to understand the data. So PickFu is giving you data, those tools are giving you data. You have to have data driven decisions. Do not listen to Instagram gurus and TikTok people. You want to make $20,000 a month? Do this. Drop ship. Don't do anything like that. What you need to do is understand very clearly, this is the space I want to get into, and then understand, is it crowded? And if it is crowded, that's okay. How are you better than everyone else that's out there? Then you want to make the better version of that and really showcase that. For example, go back to melatonin gummies. If every melatonin gummy is 500 milligrams and you're 1,000 milligrams and you're more gummies inside the bottle than the competition, well, heck, you better put on the bottle 1,000 milligrams and a stamp on the top of the bottle that says, 180 count, and then a value prop on the cap that says 6 month supply, something like that, something compelling to someone, right? But I would also stay away from certain categories. I know I mentioned supplements, but unless you have a pretty big bankroll account,
Mhm.
supplements is a very heavily pay to play space. So don't expect to
Yeah.
start supplements and then be like killing it on Amazon with no ad spend. So things that have very heavy pay to play spaces, very compliance heavy spaces are difficult. So I would say the baby space, try and stay away from that. Everyone that has a baby wants to go out and make a baby product on Amazon just because they want to do it. There's a lot of compliance to what kids put in their mouths, sleep with. Anything that has strict compliance, anything that has chemicals in it, be very, very careful. My go to for someone starting out on Amazon, I would say if you're sourcing from somewhere like China, make sure that it's cheap, light, and easy. You can never go wrong with something like that. So, for example, if you were to get Stanley tumbler cups, a really big seller on Amazon is a little cap that goes on top of the cup, a little plastic cap to cover the straw. You can get those on Alibaba for like 30 cents for a 6 pack. Given they are very saturated
Mhm.
now, that's the idea of what you want to get your feet wet with. Because at a low ticket item, if you're sourcing something, you're not reinventing the wheel with something like that. But that's a good way to get into Amazon to get your feet wet, because you don't want to get started with Amazon with hot. Forget what the gurus tell you, with high ticket items that are $60 a piece on COGS, cost of goods sold, and then landing cost on top of it, and then has electronics inside of it. It can malfunction. Forget if it has Bluetooth and then the customer can't pair the Bluetooth, they're just going to send it back. It's going to be a boomerang product. So these are things that you want, very hassle-proof, hassle-free products. Something like a straw cap, something like, trying to think of something else. Like that's why a lot of people get into the kitchen utensil space, because it's easy. It's
Yeah.
easy because it's just a spatula. It's just a lemon tweezer. It's just a garlic press, right? So it's very hard to mess those things up.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much, John, for the insightful tips. And yeah, it will really help the new sellers, especially who are just starting. And hope you guys are not starting after watching an influencer sitting on a beach and sipping her soda and telling you that I'm making 20,000 bucks a month and you can also
No,
do it.
trust me. I've met a lot of the big names, 7 8 figure sellers in the Amazon space. I have yet to meet one of them that's sitting on the beach, not doing anything. Amazon is not passive income. Amazon
Exactly.
is a constant grind. You have to work at it. It is very, very satisfying when it works out, but it's
Hmm.
not something you just, oh, I sent inventory to Amazon, whoop, it'll sell. I cashed the check. I'll send some more and have a nice day. It's not how it
Yeah.
works. I wish it was. Maybe like 15 years ago, but I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. There is a quote from a speaker. I forgot his name, and he said that if it was easy, everyone would have been doing it. So it's
It's
not
true.
easy. Yeah,
It's
it's not
not.
easy.
No.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John, for sparing your precious time and sharing the insightful side tips with us. I
Yeah,
hope I will
totally.
host you in another episode someday in the future.
Yeah, I'd love
Thank
to come back. Anyone that's watching, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. I post daily on LinkedIn talking about CTR, PickFu polls, SEO, optimization, merchandising. I run the PickFu podcast. We do that every Thursday at noon Eastern time. We always have some guests, or we talk about some new tricks, new AI, new innovative ways to use the polls. Tons of good stuff coming out. We'll be at a lot of the shows coming out the rest of the year. So fun stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I will mention John a LinkedIn account and the PickFu website link in this video description, so you guys must connect with him and follow him on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, John, once again for showing up and sharing the insightful tips with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye.
You too.